Hello and welcome to another Blender tutorial. In this video, I'll teach you how to create your own character like this one. This video will be divided into two parts. The first part will cover Blender in 3D basics as well as how to build the body of the character. The second part will cover how to build the clothes, how to add materials to your models, and how to attach a face texture. I've also provided some free resources in the description, so I've provided the face texture, also some hairstyles for you to use, so check out the links in the description. If you're a beginner to Blender, don't worry, I'll show you every step from start to finish. I also explain what we do and why we're doing it, so you can have a good understanding of how things work. By the end of this video, you have a much better understanding of how Blender works and you have made your very own character. Okay, let's get started with part 1 of this video. When you open Blender, this is the window that you'll see. I'm working in Blender version 4.5. First, I want to show you some Blender basics. Feel free to skip this part if you're not a beginner. First, I'll show you the navigation. To navigate around your scene, you can use the middle mouse button to rotate around your object. You can use the scroll wheel to zoom in and out. You can use shift and middle mouse click to pan around your scene. Okay, now for some 3D basics. This is your 3D object, this cube. In object mode, you can press G to grab your cube and move it around. You can press S to scale it up or down, and you can press R to rotate it. If you press Tab, you can go into edit mode. This dot, is called a vertex. We can move it with G like we move the object. If you press 2, you enter edge selection mode. This here is an edge. You can move edges with G, scale them with S, and rotate them with R. If you press 3, you enter face selection mode. Each square is a face. You can move faces with G, scale them with S, and rotate them with R. All 3D objects are made out of vertices, edges, and faces. How you manipulate them is what gives the shape to your 3D objects. Before starting to work on our character, let's turn on some settings and preferences to make our work easier. Go to Edit, Preferences. In Input, click on Emulate 3-button mouse. In Key Map here, click on Tab for Pie menu. After that, click down here and save Preferences. Now when we press Tab, we can get our little edit menu, and these things will just speed up our workflow. With that in mind, we're going to start using this cube to model our character. First, let's add our reference image. I've provided a reference in the description of the video. Press Tab to go into object mode. Press Shift A, then go Image, Reference. Find the image where you downloaded it. Once you have it selected, click on the cog wheel and choose Align to World. Press Load Image. With the image selected, press R, X, and type in 90 on your keyboard to rotate the image on the X-axis. That is the red one here. Move up your image by pressing G and Z so it lines up on the bottom here. Select your image and then go into the data menu on the right. Click in front so the image appears in front of your 3D model. Enable opacity and set it to 0.1. Now our image is see-through and you can see it on top of our model while modeling. This will make it easier to follow the proportions of the reference. Okay, finally let's get started with the model. First we'll start blocking out the proportions of our character. Select the cube object. Press numpad 1 for front view. Move the cube up with G and Z so it matches the position of the head in the reference. Press S and X to scale it sideways. Now let's extrude the neck from this cube. Press Tab and go into edit mode. Press 3 for face selection. Select the face on the bottom of the cube. Press I to insert a new face. You'll see that creates a new face underneath. Now scale that down with S. This will be the face that the neck will be extruded from. Scale it down a bit more so it matches the size of the neck in the reference. It doesn't have to be exact, we can always adjust it later. Press numpad 1 for front view. Now press E to extrude down. That creates the neck. Press E again to extrude down one more time. Press S to scale up this new face. This will be the shoulder area. Press 1 on your keyboard for vertex selection. turn on X-ray mode from up here. This allows you to see through the model and select vertices on the front of the model and the back of the model at the same time. Select these top vertices. Move them up with G and Z to match the proportions on the reference. Next, let's start extruding the body. Press 3 for face selection. Turn off X-ray mode from up here. Select the bottom face of the torso. Press numpad 1 for front view. Press E to extrude it down. This will be the body. What we're going to do now is we're going to split the mesh down the middle and we're going to mirror it over. This way, any changes we make to one side of our model will automatically appear on the other, keeping everything symmetrical and saving us some time. Press Ctrl R to add an edge loop. Click to place this loop down the center of the mesh. Now let's delete the left half. Press 3 for face selection. Turn on X-ray mode from up here. This allows you to select faces on the front and the back at the same time. Select the left half of the model. Press X and choose faces to delete the selected faces. Then press Tab and go into object mode. Go to the modifiers tab here. From the modifiers, search for the mirror modifier. Add the mirror modifier. Enable clipping and set the clipping value to something like 0.01. Now if you go into edit mode and change one side, the other side changes at the same time. This is super useful for staying symmetrical and being able to work faster. Next, let's make the arms. Press Ctrl R to add one more edge loop near the waist here. Press 3 for face selection and disable X-ray from up here. Select the side face we just created. Press I to insert a new face. Scale this new face on the Y-axis by pressing S and Y. You're just trying to make this face square. Move this new face out by pressing G. Now with the end face still selected, press E to extrude the arm. Press G to move it down. Press R to rotate it to match the arm angle on the reference. Press S to scale it up a bit. Now let's check that our edge loops are aligned correctly. For the arms, the edge loops should follow the direction that the arm extends in. So from the shoulder to the hand. It's easier to show you what I mean. Okay, press Ctrl R to add an edge loop going along the arm. Rotate it with R and move it with G so it faces in the arm direction. Nice, let's move on. Next up, we're going to extrude the legs. Press 3 for face selection and select the bottom face here. Press I to insert a new face. Scale it on the Y-axis by pressing S and Y. Here you want to make this face square. Move the face down with G and Z. Scale it by pressing S so it matches the leg size on the reference. Next up, you want to press numpad 1 for front view. Then press E to extrude the leg down. Press S to scale it. Press G and X to position it so it matches the leg on the reference. Our little guy is looking pretty blocky right now, but that's totally fine. What we're going to do next is we're going to start adjusting the shape and smoothing things out. Quick break. If you're enjoying this tutorial and want to support my work, join me on Patreon. I post exclusive tutorials, behind-the-scenes snippets from my animation project called The Magical Adventures of Gizmo and Oz, and more. Your support helps me keep creating, and in return, you get access to exclusive content that I don't share anywhere else. Link to my Patreon is down below. Okay, now back to the video. What we're going to do next is we're going to adjust the shape of the body just to round it up a bit more. Okay, while in edit mode, press 2 for edge selection. Double-click on the middle edge loop to select it, or select it manually. Press S and Y to scale it out on the Y-axis. That makes the middle of the model a little more curved. Now let's keep adjusting. Select this edge, hold down Shift and keep selecting these other edges around the torso. Press S and Y to scale them in. This curves our body shape a bit further. Now press 1 for vertice selection. Select these front and back vertices on the top of the body. Press S and Y to scale them in. Let's just keep making our way down the body. Select pairs of vertices on the front and the back here. Scale them in with S and Y. You can move these back vertices here in a bit with G and Y to flatten the back. Nice, that rounded off the body shape a lot more. Let's continue tweaking these shapes. Press numpad 1 for front view. Turn on X-ray mode. Select the vertices at the front and the back of the arm area. Press G and X to move them inward. You can also move them up a bit if needed. Move the side vertices with G and X. Here you want to straighten the edge flow around the shoulder. Here we're just tweaking individual vertices, moving them around until we get a nice shape for everything. There isn't anything special, we're just moving vertices around. Okay, nice, keep going, move things up where needed with G and Z. We're just aiming for a nice rounded shoulder to arm transition. Okay, nice, that is looking great for the block out. Now let's move everything out so the model is no longer blocky. Press Tab to go into object mode. Hide your reference image from the hierarchy on the right here by clicking on this eye icon. This will just help us see things a bit better. Now select your mesh, right click and choose Shade Smooth. It'll look strange now, but we'll fix it by adding a subdivision surface modifier. Go to the modifiers tab on the right here. Add a subdivision surface modifier. Set the levels to 2 for a smoother mesh. The subdivision surface modifier smooths out your model by adding more geometry. It's not applied currently, so the smoothing is just in the viewport, but once you apply your modifier, that geometry will be added to your model. But for now, we'll just leave it in the viewport. Okay, some parts like the arms and the legs might look a bit too soft. Let's fix that. Press Tab and go into edit mode. Press Ctrl R to add an edge loop where you want more definition. In this case, on the arm and the leg. So after pressing Ctrl R, click and drag the new edge loop close to the area that you want to sharpen. The closer that the loops are, the sharper the transition becomes. This helps preserve the shape when using subdivision surface. Now that we've added an extra loop to the legs, let's extrude the feet. Press 3 for face selection. Select the bottom face on the leg here. Press E to extrude. Click to accept the extrusion. Then press G and Y to move the new face forward. Press S and X to scale it in the X-axis. Press 2 for edge selection. Select this top edge on the foot and move it down with G and Z. That just gives the foot a bit of a nicer shape. The transition from the ankle to the leg here looks a bit too smooth, so let's fix that. Press Ctrl R to add an edge loop close to the ankle. Don't place it too close, you just want it close enough to create a sharper transition. Somewhere around here works. Nice, all done with the foot. The legs here are looking a bit too rectangular. That's likely because the face that I inserted earlier wasn't scaled properly, so I didn't square it off correctly. We can easily fix that though, let me show you how. Press 1 for vertice selection. Turn on X-ray mode from up here. Select all of the leg vertices. Press S and Y to scale them in the Y-axis. That rounds them up a little bit better. Turn off X-ray to check the shape. It should look much less rectangular now. Next, we're going to continue tweaking the shape of the body so it matches our reference better. Let's move on to the head and the neck. The head at the moment is looking a bit too wide. Select the head and press S and Y to scale it in a bit. The top here is also looking too flat. Let's fix that. Press 2 for edge selection. Select the top edge, then move it up with G and Z to round it off a little bit so it's not so flat. Turn your reference back on in the hierarchy here. We're going to match the size and shape of everything to be closer to the reference. The legs are looking pretty good, we just want to sharpen the bottom of the foot a little bit more. To do that, in edit mode, press Ctrl R to add an edge loop. Add the edge loop to the bottom of the foot here to sharpen that area. You can see now the foot is nice and flat on the bottom. Okay, let's keep adjusting. Press 1 for vertice selection. Turn on X-ray mode. Select all the vertices on the shoulders. Move them up with G and Z. Move this one in with G and X. Next, we want to refine the transitions between the head, neck and body. Those areas are currently looking a bit too soft. To sharpen those transitions, we'll add an edge loop near the top of the neck, close to the head, and another edge loop near the base of the neck. This will sharpen those areas a bit more. Okay, press Ctrl R and add an edge on the bottom here. Press Ctrl R again and add an edge on the top here. This hardens those areas a bit more and helps to make the neck a lot more defined. Now let's scale the neck in a little bit because it's too wide. Turn on your reference from the hierarchy. Make sure that X-ray is turned on. Select all the vertices on the neck. Scale the neck in by pressing S and X and scale it by pressing S and Y. Here you just want to make sure that it matches the size on the reference. Okay, here we're just going to keep tweaking everything until it matches the reference more closely. There is nothing special here, just moving vertices around until everything looks right. We want to round off areas a little bit more. So here on the head, press 2 for edge selection. Select this edge, then shift select this edge on the other side. Press S and Y to scale those out. You're just trying to get nice shapes all around the model. Here I'm going to adjust the body since it's looking a little bit too chunky. Press numpad 3 for side view. Select the back vertices and move them in with G and Y. Move these in with G and Y as well. That makes a bit of a smoother transition and makes things look less bulky. You can also soften the belly if it's sticking out too much. Nice, now you have the basic shape of your character's body. Next up, we'll add the ears. You can do that in two ways. You can either extrude them from the head, like we did before with everything else, or you can add them as a separate object. For the purpose of this tutorial, we'll make the ears as a separate object for easier control. Okay, press Tab to go into object mode. Press Shift A, go to Mesh, and add a cube. Turn on the reference. Press numpad 1 for front view. Move the cube where the ear should be. Scale the cube down on the Y-axis by pressing S and Y. Now let's add a subdivision surface modifier to the cube to smooth it. From modifiers, add a subdivision surface modifier. Set the levels to 2. Right-click and choose Shade Smooth to smooth out your object. Here we just want to harden this inner edge. To do that, we can add an extra edge loop. With the ear selected, press Tab and go into edit mode. Add an edge loop with Ctrl R near the inside area here to flatten it. That just makes the shape a bit nicer. Now press A to select everything. Press R and Z to rotate the ear backwards. Position it with G to match the reference. Now we want to mirror this ear over to the other side. First, press Ctrl A and apply all transforms. This resets the object's origin, so the mirroring works properly. Now, from modifiers, add a mirror modifier. Now the ear mirrors correctly across the body. If you skip applying transforms, the mirroring won't work as expected, so make sure that you do it. Nice, now your character has basic ears and a much cleaner shape. Next up, we're going to apply our modifiers and we're going to start finalizing our model. Let's go ahead and apply our modifiers now. With the object selected, go into object mode. In the modifiers tab, click on the little tick icon here and choose apply. Now if you go into edit mode, you'll see that the two sides are no longer connected. They're independent. Let's apply the subdivision surface as well. In object mode, click the tick mark and choose apply. Now your mesh is actively smoothed. That means that it now has more faces and the smoothing isn't just a preview in the viewport. Those extra faces are now part of your mesh. Just a quick note on face density here. This isn't something that we'll be doing in this tutorial, but it's just good for you to know as good practice. You generally want to have even face density across your model. What that means is the size of the faces should be consistent from the body to the head, so all across your models, the faces should be the same density. Right now you can see that the body has more dense faces than the head. To fix that, we would need to remove some edge loops. You can keep doing that until everything feels balanced and consistent throughout. Again, we won't be doing that right now, but it's something I wanted to mention as a good practice for creating models. Okay, our model here is looking a little bit tubby at the front and back. So let's shape it more with Blender sculpting tools. With the body selected, press Tab and go into sculpt mode. Here you can use sculpting brushes to change the shape of your models. From the brush panel down here, select the grab brush. You'll see a circle appear on top of your model. This is your brush. You can now use your brush to manipulate the shape of the model. Press on this butterfly icon at the top here to enable symmetry on the x-axis. Now your brush will affect both sides of the model at the same time. To adjust your brush size, you can press F and scroll on your mouse. Click to confirm the new brush size. Okay, now we can tweak the shape by pulling and smoothing things out. Use the grab brush to pull in the back a little bit. You can also smooth things out with the smooth brush. For example, this area on the front is too tubby. To fix that, paint with your brush while holding down Shift to smooth the area. This flattens and cleans up any strange curves or indents. You can pull the mesh slightly around the legs or hips to improve this transition. So yeah, just keep manipulating your mesh and making it look a bit nicer. For example, if the butt area looks a bit too big, use the grab brush to push it in. If the shoulders feel narrow, pull them out or push them in. We're just shaping until things look nicer and more natural. Sculpting works easier than edit mode here because your mesh now has a lot more faces. Sculpting lets you work with larger forms quickly. This is the end of part 1 of this video. Now you should have your character's body all modeled. In the next video, I'll show you how to do the clothes, how to add materials, and how to add a 2D texture to the face. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss when part 2 comes out and any future videos. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, I would really appreciate it if you left a comment and shared it with a friend. Okay, bye! Until next time!